Hi, I'm Jim Griffiths. I'm the President and CEO of Jag Healthcare. I want to welcome you to our fine organization of healthcare professionals and the Jag team. At a very young age, I learned at 11 years old what the value is of teamwork and building an organization. I hope over the next several minutes that you'll find that this organization truly is an amazing organization. My thought is this: if you come away from this video and you understand our policy procedures, you understand our employee manual and fire evacuation and the rest of the things we cover better, then we've accomplished our goal today. I know that you have a lot of choices out there of who to work for, but my hope and my commitment to you is that when you are fully part of the team and actually on the floor and working with our residents and our staff, that you truly will understand and believe that you're part of a very elite group. Thank you so much for choosing Jag Healthcare. And I want to say this one final thing before you go into your video. Show up, try hard, and smile. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Dave Cooley, and I'm the Chief Financial Officer of Jag Healthcare. I want to welcome you to our company. I joined in 2008, and it's been a great ride for me, and I hope it will be for you as well. As the Chief Financial Officer, the main things I work with are administrative, but I'd like you to think of that as taking care of you. We take care of you so you can take care of the residents. The things that we do to take care of you are first, payroll and benefits. We have Michelle Comiskey working on with that, and she does a great job with that. She'll be talking with you later about our employee handbook. We also have Mayor Cortan, who works in medical purchasing. She's in charge of getting all your PPE and all the other supplies we have to take care of our residents and keep you safe. And we have also Adele Antal and I work on the accounting of our companies, make sure we keep our banks and other capital providers all informed and knowing that we're doing a great job. And we also have Rita Washko, who works with accounts payable, and that would be primarily dealing with vendors. So this is the whole group within the administrative side for Jag. We're very proud of the fact that we're a very lean company. We don't have a lot of layers that you have to go through. Go to one of those people if you have an issue that they can help you solve, and if need be, go to me, and I'll try to work on it as well, and we'll get you taken care of. We're very responsive, we're a very nimble company, and I'm very proud to welcome you to Jag Healthcare.
Hi, I'm Doug Walters, Jag Healthcare. I'm the Corporate Director of Operations and Plant Operations. I've been with the company since its inception of May of 2005. We're very proud of our organization. It's a strong organization, and as the Safety Director of the corporation, per facility you're going to go through your orientation and you're going to learn fire drills, tornado, race, bomb threats, elopement drills. Elopement is a really big thing. A little later in the video, Amanda's going to touch base on some things. Greg Bratton is going to touch base on tornado, and John Hayes from Orville will be going over race. When in the safety demonstration that Amanda gives, take the safety aspect of what we do seriously. Take the training seriously, know where your smoke compartments are, know where your safety zones are in the case of a tornado, and take the training seriously, because when things happen, typically it never happens in the first shift. It always happens at night when less people are around. I'm available 24/7, 365. I will make my cell number available to you all. When you do the training, remember one thing. If you have a question on it, ask. Another thing I would like to bring up in reference to operations and plant operations and maintenance, if you see something, please report it. Don't ever think that it's already been reported, somebody else has reported it. I like to tell each and every one of our associates, I'd rather hear something about the same problem 10 times than not at all. Other than that, I want to make this short, sweet. You'll see me in the field as often, myself and Mr. Griffiths and Mr. Cooley. I mean, we are in the field operators. I look forward to working with each and every one of you. And again, welcome to JAG Healthcare.
Hello, I'm Jim Griffiths. I'm President and CEO of JAG Healthcare, and we are going to handle some orientation items this morning. Look forward to your employment with us. We thought we'd just cover a few things this morning that are very important to JAG. The mission statement and core values. So let's talk about our mission statement. First, the purpose. JAG Healthcare wishes to familiarize our associates with the guiding principles of our company and promote the practice of our mission statement throughout all of our operations and community relations. So, Mike, if you'd read just the first sentence of our mission statement, and then maybe we'll chat about it a bit.
At Jag Healthcare, we are dedicated to creating a lifetime of balance for our residents, our employees, and our communities.
So, kind of a weird word. We're using the word balance, and that's very important in this organization. A lot of, and you guys mentioned in your opening statements that we care about human beings, and that's absolutely the truth. The challenge, though, going forward will be, can we effectively take the resources given to us and provide the maximum amount of care and services to the people that are entrusted with our stay here. So balance is important. We don't want to underdeliver, and we don't want to overdeliver. We don't want to waste resources on one person, one set of circumstances, one protocol. It's important we use our resources wisely. So balance is a very critical word and a sort of a foundation mission word for what we do here at JAG Healthcare. Kaylee, would you read the next sentence?
We strive for continuous improvement in service, efficiency, and quality of care by eliminating waste and redundancy within our operations.
Kind of more specific to what we just said there, right, about balance, but it identifies what we're trying to do. And it's not just our operations with our residents, it's also our staff. It's also the communities we serve. It's our building, our physical plant operations. All of those things need to constantly be evaluated and respected with respect to the resources, again, given to us. Tim, would you read the last sentence?
This guiding principle enables us to reinvest in and improve the quality of life for everyone at our facilities and in the communities we serve.
So when we're good stewards with the resources given to us, then we also then have the ability to take the money, resources, labor, food in some cases, or whatever, and use those wisely in a different application. And that's where I believe JAG Healthcare really sets itself apart from our competitors, notwithstanding the fact that most of our buildings are five-star buildings, and that certainly is a good badge to put on our chest. But I think more importantly, we continuously look for ways to maximize delivery to our residents by being good stewards and being efficient with the resources given to us. Thanks. So let's go to then a very important component of JAG Healthcare, and that's our core values. There's 6 words, and if you look at your name badge, it's an inverted pyramid, and there's a reason for that. First, it represents our organizational chart. Typical organizational charts, the CEO's at the top, me. Everyone kind of reports to the CEO. We're the opposite. I'm in the bottom of the pyramid, and our residents are at the top. I'm in service to the administrators, DONs, who are in service to all of you all, and then you then to our true boss, which is our residents, are in service to them. So the organizational chart flows up, and I'm really not a boss, per se. I don't like that word. I like to be called a healthcare provider and a helper. And what can I do to help you get your jobs done more efficiently, more effectively? On up. So we think about that. It's also this sort of inverted pyramid is a way for us to look at our core values. And there's 6 words. The first one we already identified. It's in our mission statement. It's the most important one. It's balance. If we have this organization, this building, this shift, this department out of balance, we're in trouble. This whole thing wobbles. So first of all, we need to look at the word balance in everything that we do. That would also include the tempo of your employment. I don't like overtime. Sure, it's expensive, but it really robs you all of your personal time. I don't like that. I want you to spend time with your families. If you're home with your family, your friends, and you're comfortable at home, likely you'll be comfortable at work. And that only speaks well then for the people who are truly paying for our wages here, and that's our residents, our true boss. So balance, very important. Anybody know some of the other words? I'll cheat. Safety. And Tim, as a social worker, you are what to all of our residents? Begins with an A. Advocate. You're an advocate.
Advocate for all of us.
Who are we advocates for, though? Who? Just the residents?
The families.
Families,
Staff.
absolutely. How about each other? You know, I have a broken water pump, or I have a flat tire. Can you help me? Can you get me to work? We do that a lot. We help each other because one day when we need help or we're given help, it's a reciprocal process. So, advocacy. Then there's 3 at the top. We did a little bit of that this morning, getting the room ready. Cleanliness, order. I'll show you a building that's in tip-top condition. I'll show you a building with clean hallways. The med carts aren't all over the place. Sheets aren't thrown on the floor. People in uniforms, name badges. Another word, Mike provides, and Kaylee, all of you provide choice to our residents. So we don't just say, look, you're going to have this today for dinner, or you're going to have this time for your bath this week, or you're going to only have services provided for you outside the building when I say it's convenient for you. No, we don't do that. So choice is very important. I want you guys to have choices. I want health insurance. I don't. I want to participate in the retirement program. I don't. The free meal is very important to me. You can refuse that too if you don't want that. But I think in the end, if a good organization has plenty of choices, it's happier for the building, certainly the residents, and also the staff. Families too, people that we serve. So the last piece of the equation, the last of our core values, is involvement. If we have staff that's involved, and we have involvement, then we have the complete, I believe, perfect environment for our residents and our staff. There's nothing worse than seeing an entire employee and you know when you go in there, I don't care if it's a restaurant, I don't care if it's an auto garage, but you can tell all they're doing in there is getting a paycheck and they don't really care. How many of you have ever seen that happen?
Right here.
So every single thing that we do, say, whether it's words or actions, becomes a permanent record of this building. And everyone's watching you. You may walk out this room and think, well, okay, I'm off the camera. No, you're actually still on. I'm not filming you secretly. We are always on the camera of the resident, prospective families, people that we do business with. All of them are watching what we're doing. And if we're involved and we care about our jobs, as you all do, it comes out. Your 5 senses should rule when you look at a nursing home. How's the place smell? How does the food taste? How does the place sound? How does it look? Those things don't lie. And then last, kind of like this involvement piece, how does it feel? Are people approaching when you come into a building? Hi, good morning, how are you? So easy to do, and so many people forget to do that. So last, maybe a couple things that a lot of organizations I think kind of blow, but hopefully we don't. Just let's list some qualities that we have as workers. What are some of the most important things to have as a healthcare worker? Yes, attitude. Attendance. Are we clean? How about compassion? Sympathy, empathy, it's all part of that compassion sort of.
Teamwork.
Absolutely. Everyone says, oh, Jim, you have such great nursing homes. No, I don't. We do. We have over 670 employees that day in, day out work as a team. And when we stop at moments is when we fail to deliver. So very good work, teamwork. Team. If you have a teamwork-oriented building that provides clean and professional care that shows empathy and sympathy, very compassionate, and they have very positive, good attitude, but they call off all the time, then what good is their talent? Right here. Attendance. So I always say 3 things to work at JAG. Let me get a different color so we all remember this. Show up. Very important to show up. If you don't show up, all of your talents are left at home. Same thing too when you go home. Don't allow things at work to then change the way or disrupt the way that your home life is. One should feed positively off the other. So keep that in mind with that show up piece. I never say be perfect, but try hard. And I'll always defend and support any decision you make if you have good intentions. Even if I would have made a different decision, it doesn't make a difference to me. What does make a difference is that you have good intentions and you try hard when you're here. And last, smile. Sometimes we're in a bad mood and we all have things in our personal life that are difficult. It could be financial, it could be marital, it could be children, whatever. Things, you know, they challenge us. I've found that if you keep a good attitude about it, you can actually kid yourself out of a bad mood. And when you come in here, you may have some things you're thinking about, but if you think that these people have a clean slate with how I'm feeling, they can actually, by the end of your shift, or maybe halfway, or even an hour into it, change the way you feel about your day. And then maybe you go home and have a different perspective on that thing that's been nagging you. Show up, try hard, and smile. That's all you have to do. Sounds pretty easy. Okay. Any thoughts or questions? No? Well, thank you very much. I'll let you go back onto the real camera out there. And thanks for participating today. Okay.
By the way, you looked great.
Yeah? Oh, good. Let's put that on there.
Did you get that on there?
That's on there.
There you go, Kaylee. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
Hope I didn't keep you off the floor too long.
Oh, you're fine.
My name is Lauren Fisher. I'm an administrator with Jag Healthcare Orville in Worcester, and I've been with Jim for 10 years now. Welcome to Jag Healthcare. Wanted to touch on a couple really important things here. You've all been hired, so you've all gotten your employee handbook. I know you've probably signed for it, that you read it. Please take the time to read through this. There are a couple really important spots in here that will be of benefit to you going forward. Most importantly, if it hasn't been explained already, our pay periods are not bi-weekly, they're semi-monthly. So what that means is your pay is going to be twice a month. Paydays run the 1st through the 15th, and then the 16th through the end of the month. Your paydays are always going to fall on the 15th and the last day of every month. If either of those days falls on a weekend or a holiday, you're going to be paid the business day prior to. Questions on that can also be referenced in the employee handbook. It will also explain your earned time off. For those of you that are full-time employees, your benefit accrual rates are all listed in here under the associate benefits section. Insurance eligibility and all of that comes at 90 days post-employment, and you'll get that information from Michelle Cooley, who is our benefits administrator from the corporate office. So for your first 90 days of employment, that'll be considered a probation period. So during that time, you'll receive your actual on-floor orientation in your specific department from your supervisor and/or their designee. Throughout your probation period, you will continue to gain the skills that you need to be successful in your position. Ohio is an at-will employment state, and this is a great time to seek feedback from your supervisors and/or their designee on how your performance is and what you can do to improve your job and your role in the company as it supports the residents that we provide care to.
Hi, I'm Michael McBride, Director of Dietary Operations for Jag Healthcare, and this is the kitchen. There's many things we go through daily on the regulatory side that we have to deal with. Biggest things we go over and the biggest battle we have is hairnets. Always make sure you wear them. They're not fun, they're not pretty, but they're a big part of our everyday life. They keep us out of trouble. One of our biggest problems we have in the kitchen and the biggest challenge we have is keeping hot food hot, cold food cold, and bare hand contact with ready to eat foods. Remember, you don't want to touch anything with your bare hands that's ready to go in another resident's mouth, even if you just wash your hands. Hand washing is another very big thing, not just in dietary, but also throughout the building period. Remember, when you wash your hands, you want to sing happy birthday twice, or you do your ABCs twice. So you wash your hands with hot water vigorously for about 30 seconds.
Hello, my name is Sharon Sneller. I'm one of the dietitians that works for JAG. And I've worked for JAG for 10 years. Today we're going to look at some things with dietary that involve nursing. And we have a star of the show today. We have Harriet with us. And we're going to talk about a couple things. The first thing with Harriet is we want to keep Harriet happy, we want to keep her safe, and we want to keep her hydrated. A lot of that happens around mealtime. So we're going to set Harriet up for lunch right now. We have Lauren who's going to help us. And Harriet, we start out by serving beverages. And then next we do their table service and then their hot plate of food. So let's give this a go. Come on in here, Lauren, it's lunchtime. Harriet's hungry. What are you doing? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. So it's mealtime and we want to set up Harriet for lunch in the dining room. And she's on a regular diet. I guess I'll throw this in now. We have tray cards that each person receives with their meal. It has their name on it, their room number, where they eat in the building, any special diet things like if they have allergies or they want milk every lunch or whatever is specific to that resident. We try to honor that preference. So you will see tray cards with all the meals that are served here at JAG. Okay, so it's lunchtime here at JAG Healthcare. We're at Orville Point today, and we're going to bring Harriet her beverages. That's where we start. We serve drinks, then we set the table up, and then bring the hot food in. So let's go. Today's lunch, and Harriet's getting some milk, which her tray card tells her that we would like. Oh my goodness.
Oh my.
Harriet, can you reach that?
I cannot.
So one problem we're noticing here that not only are her drinks too far from her, but Lauren brought the drinks with her fingers inside the cup, which is a sanitation issue, which we don't want to see. So here comes Lauren. We're going to try this one more time.
Good afternoon, Harriet.
You are just lovely, dear.
Now you notice that the drinks are well within Harriet's reach. She can sip on things while she's waiting for her meal. Next, we're having to set the table a little bit.
Ready for lunch?
I'm ready.
What's going on? So we got the drinks right this time, but you notice that when the silverware was delivered and opened and Harriet was helped, that the part of the spoon was touched, the tongs of the fork were touched, and so we're going to do a redo on that and make sure you know that we don't do that when we're serving.
I am. I'm hungry.
Enjoy your meal.
Thank you.
Some correct and incorrect ways to handle the glasses, the silverware. The placement of the drinks needs to be close enough to the residents so that they can actually reach them and drink them. Those are regulations we must follow from the state of Ohio, and the surveyors, when they're in the building, will be checking that this is being done. That's all I have right now, and we'll move on to our next topic in a minute. Harriet, how you doing?
I'm sweating.
I'm going to introduce my co-workers here. We're going to talk about hairnets. So it's another letter H. We've already talked about Harriet being happy with her meals and hydrated, and now we're going to talk about hairnets. So there's a reason why we have to wear these. The kitchen is a hairnet area. You must have them on. The kitchen is for staff only, kitchen staff only. But there will be times when you'll need to have a hairnet on to go into the department. So we're going to talk about the correct way and the incorrect way to wear hairnets today. And I have our movie star models with us today. I'd like you to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Hall. I am an employee of Jag Orville. I am a culinary supervisor and I've been here for 3 years.
And next we have?
My name is Tatiana. I am a cook and I've been with Jag Orientation for 6 years.
So I'd like to introduce you our final member of the team that we have today. This is?
My name is Gabe Varney. I'm the culinary supervisor here at Jag Orientation. I've been here for about 7 years.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the incorrect and the correct way to wear a hairnet. So we have Alyssa modeling for us today with the incorrect way to wear your hairnet or your bonnet. You can either wear a hairnet or this type of a surgical bonnet at work. You can see what's wrong here. Her hair is free and loose around her shoulders. It looks beautiful. However, it does not comply with our hairnet policy. That's all hair must be up and away from the face, off of your neck. If it's long, it needs to be a ponytail and all tucked in. If you need to wear a hairnet, you're coming into the kitchen, it needs to be put on in the hallway before you enter the department. Now we have Tatiana here, who's showing us she has long, thick hair, that she styled it so that it works well with the hairnet on all day, and everything's covered. Oh, sorry. And she's doing a great job of showing us the proper way to wear a hairnet at work. Thank you.
Welcome to Jag Healthcare. By now you have completed your new hire processing and your onboarding. So now we're going to go through the employee handbook in a little bit more detail with those highlights that are going to be pertinent to your employment with us. The employee handbook gives you our set of expectations for you as an associate and also gives you point of reference for things that are going to be important to you as an employee with Jag Healthcare. The employee handbook is going to introduce you to our policies and procedures, work rules, programs, and benefits. So the important thing with your handbook is this is a 40,000-foot guide to your employment. It's going to cover all of the policies and procedures that are related to your employment as well as the benefits that you get as an associate of Jag Healthcare. So what we'll do is we'll take a minute and we'll go through some of the key topics in your employee handbook. You can follow along. The employment policies list equal employment opportunity, assurance to non-discrimination, reporting violations, prohibition of harassment, our sexual harassment policy, and the investigations that would follow. As an employee with Jag Healthcare, you have a right to a pleasant and safe workplace, and our policies are set up to ensure that. At this time, you've already gone through all of your pre-employment screening and your onboarding, so we'll go through that. You have a 90-day introductory period. And this is the time in which your direct supervisor or their designee will evaluate your performance and give you constructive criticism and also allow you the time to provide feedback into how we can make the organization better. There are 4 types of employment classifications in our organization. You have full-time, part-time, PRN, and then salaried and/or exempt employment status. Depending on the department that you're hired into, each department will have its own specific set of orientation criteria. And then you'll receive that as you get on the floor and go through the specific details of your job. Our work week and overtime runs Sunday through Saturday. So as we stated earlier, your pay period is going to be from the 1st through the 15th and the 16th through the end of the month. Overtime generates Sunday through Saturday. As a non-exempt employee, anything over 40 hours in a work week is overtime. Will be paid accordingly with state and federal guidelines. Let's talk about payroll for a minute. So we use Paylocity as our time and attendance system. Paylocity is how you're going to clock in and out. You can get schedules on there if your department utilizes that system, and it's also going to allow you to keep track of your payroll. Clocking in and out is essential. If you miss a punch, you must report that to your supervisor on a missed punch form, and those can be manually entered at a later time. If you do not take the professional responsibility to clock in and out, it could affect your ability to be paid. That's huge. Clocking in and out for the start of your shift should occur no more than 5 minutes to the scheduled time. Any changes to your work schedule should be approved in advance by your supervisor and/or the scheduling department. Remember that work schedules should be approved in advance prior to changes, and this includes the accrual of overtime. Performance and compensation reviews will be done at 90 days and annually thereafter. Transfer and promotion opportunities will be posted in the facility for associates to review and apply for. The facility does follow formal dispute resolution policies, and those can be found specifically in the employee handbook. So let's talk about conduct and discipline. These are pretty basic. It's extremely important that you are professional and courteous to your coworkers at all times. There's a full list of all of the expectations for you as an associate. Remember that this employee handbook is a document for you. Keep it, reference it. This will help guide you through your employment with the organization. Resignation and termination for non-disciplinary reasons. So Ohio is an employment at will state. If you're having issues with any aspect of your employment, talk to your supervisor. Direct communication is the best communication. If you have questions or concerns, it is your responsibility to bring them up and have them addressed. This is part of your mandatory reporting. What we do in this organization is extremely important. We serve other people. And you carry a responsibility as an associate, regardless of department or position, to ensure that our residents are getting great care and that our associates are safe, happy, and healthy. So let's talk about workplace rules. Your attendance control policy is going to be set by your individual department head. A full copy of the policy can be found in your employee handbook. Most importantly, the definitions, the purpose, and the actual policies for calling off can be found in the employee handbook. With respect to workplace rules, let's talk about the attendance control policy. Your employee handbook is going to define the purpose, the procedure, and the acceptable reasons for calling off. Please refer to your department head for the attendance control details as they relate to your position in the company. Please note that time away from work not subject to disciplinary action includes the following: earned time off, military obligations, recognized holidays, approved medical or personal leave, including FMLA, jury duty, and layoff. You can also find a list of excused absences in your employee handbook under the time and attendance control policy section. Confidential information. It's the responsibility of all company associates to safeguard sensitive information about the company as well as its residents. This includes, but is not limited to, resident financial, medical, and contact information, resident or associate file data, contracts, sales and marketing strategies, company software, personnel files, or other confidential proprietary information designated as such by the company. Managing conflicts of interest and business ethics is part of your professional responsibility as an associate of Jag Healthcare. A full list of these details can be found in your employee handbook. Greg Bratton will now talk to you about the social media policy and cell phone usage.
Hi, my name is Greg Bratton and I work here at Jag Healthcare. I've been here for a couple of years and I'd like to talk to you a little bit about social media and cell phone usage. Our policy is that we do not take videos, we do not take photos, we don't do any of that in our facility. There's one camera generally in each of our buildings that Activities uses. That camera has a card in it. Those pictures are contained on that camera. And it's great, we want to use those. We want to grab these activities, we want to grab these different things that happen in our buildings, and we want to post them in our buildings because we want family members to be able to come in and say, hey, here was my mom, here was her enjoying dinner, or we did some sort of like we're doing like a cowboy day here at Shelby this month. And yeah, I want to be able to, if I was a family member, I would want to come in and see those snapshots, those little memories, and I think that's great. But again, that's taken on a camera that's owned by the facility and only used here at the facility, and the photos are not posted online. So we may get to a point down the line where we can do some Facebook stuff. I think that is kind of cool in the photo sharing, but I think we're still wondering where we're going to be on that. But right now we're inundated with social media. I mean, you've got LinkedIn, you've got Facebook, you've got Twitter, you've got Snapchat, Instagram, and there's probably 5 more that I haven't even heard about yet. But all these things are great, but we just don't use them here in the building because we have a lot of people here. It's not just you, it's everybody else. It's everybody else and their families, their loved ones, their like I said, maybe they have a guardian that would object to their pictures being taken. So just to be safe, to protect yourselves, to protect our residents, refrain from taking any photo or video in the building.
Hey Greg, I was just going to ask a question about that. So are you saying that we should probably have our cell phones on quiet or vibrate mode, or is it okay for it to ring?
No, absolutely you want to have your phone on vibrate mode. In fact, I don't know about anybody else, but I actually never turn the ringer on my phone. In fact, just the vibration wakes me up at night. But sometimes actually, this is they did a study on that, on ringers, and they said that actually it causes your blood pressure to go up when your phone rings, because it's like the anticipation of maybe the call, what's the call, who is it, but that's just a little tidbit that I've heard on, probably on social media somewhere.
And then just one other question. Is it okay for us to provide care and maybe take a call or text while I'm providing care or talking to a resident?
Right, absolutely not. And that kind of comes down to putting yourself in the position of the resident. You know, if you're in the resident room, you're providing care, your phone buzzes, you pick the phone up, you know, you don't even say anything to the resident, you're talking to your friend about what you're going to do that evening, something that doesn't involve the resident, it's a distraction and it really takes away from the quality of the care that we provide. So when you're in that room and you're providing that resident care, you want to focus on that resident because that's the most important thing that you're doing right at that very moment. We want our residents to feel like they're number one. We don't want to make them feel like they're a distraction to our, cell phone or, what we're doing. And by the way, too, most of our residents are in the building 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Maybe, them hearing about where you're going to have dinner tonight, that'd kind of make me feel bad if I was a resident in the building. Hey, we're going to Applebee's tonight and, we're going to have a great time and, I'm the resident there, I can't walk. I'm laying in my bed and, man, maybe I really liked Applebee's, when I was younger and I remember times there. So that would really be hard for me. So, just think about that. Put yourself in the resident's shoes, put yourself in their position and try to empathize as best you can. We talked about cell phones, so cell phone usage, put your phone on vibrate. If you need to take an emergency call, excuse yourself, be polite, go off the floor, take your call, okay? Don't be on your phones during, your work time. You have breaks, you have lunch. It's absolutely fine. You're more than welcome to use the Wi-Fi in the building when you're out there. If you want to check Facebook on your lunch, absolutely. You want to go visit your news feed, you want to hop on Twitter, whatever, absolutely go and do that. Check your emails. But when you're on the floor, don't use your phone unless it's a 911, unless it's an emergency call. We also want to talk about your phones. Every one of these guys has a camera on it, which means it can either record video or you can take photos with it. So when you're in the building, even if you're just taking a call, here my phone's ringing right now. Silence. When you're out on the floor, and you might maybe it's just you wanting to take a photo with your favorite resident, and how benign does that sound? It's completely innocent. Hey, Mrs. Smith, she's my buddy, I want to get a selfie. This is super cool, like boom, snap the picture, and it's great, right? Well, it's really not, because first of all, maybe Mrs. Smith isn't capable of saying whether or not she wants her photo taken. Maybe she is, but maybe she has a guardian or she has a family member that absolutely does not want her picture taken. And by the way, whenever you take a picture on one of these guys, a lot of times it's backing up somewhere else. You have no idea where that photo is going. If there was a breach in a server somewhere and your phone is backing up to that, you could potentially have, a HIPAA violation right there, just on your phone. Also, when you're taking a picture, not a lot of people think about this. There's some funny videos and you can check online, but when you're taking that selfie and you're trying to capture this window, right? Well, it's not always just what you're trying to photograph. Like if I'm trying to take a picture of a resident and myself, they're in the shot, but all of a sudden there's 3 other residents behind them that I didn't intend to have in the picture, but they are. So maybe that was okay that this resident, maybe they signed off and their family's totally cool with it, but there's 3 other guys in the background that their families are absolutely against it, and all of a sudden that gets out. It's on social media. A lot of our facilities are in small towns. Small towns, word travels fast, and you just don't want to put yourself in that situation.
Thanks, Greg. That ties in with our no solicitation and no distribution policy. Please refer to that section in the employee handbook. Wrapping up workplace rules, we're going to talk about dress code and ID badges. Each department has its own specific dress code, and each color is unique to that department. Upon hire, you'll get your dress code and your ID badge from your direct supervisor. And we'll also talk about those things that are specific to your department. The use of company property, wage assignment and garnishments, proper accounting, candor and reporting, and the no smoking policy. As a reminder, JAG Healthcare Associates are not permitted to smoke while at work. Personal phone calls and mail are not to come to the building. All your personal phone calls should be called into the building, and if it's appropriate, we'll take a message for you and it'll be relayed. Lost and found, bulletin boards, news releases, and valuables can all be kept in their designated areas back by your locker. There's also a suggestion box, postings for news meetings, and mandatory employer education postings in the back. So if we have staff meetings or any type of education or information that you need as general staff will be posted by your time clock. Professional license maintenance is the responsibility of the associate. However, you are eligible for compensation after 90 days of employment, should that apply. In-service education and continuing education will be provided by the facility. All STNAs are required to have 12 hours of continuing education per calendar year. And we take care of that during our monthly staff meetings and education that comes out depending on the individual circumstances. Property of the company and premises off after working hours. You should be at work when you're at work and at home when you're at home. That balance is important, and that's one of our core values. Associate visitors should be avoided during normal working hours. And should there be an emergency or somebody come in, they would follow normal visitation procedures in the building. Come in through the front entrance, we'll check them in, and then we'll notify you of your visitor.
Hi, I'm Carol Walsh, LPN here at Jag Healthcare Burbank. I am the STNA instructor. I've been with the company for 11 years. I enjoy my position, and I want to help each and every one of you become an STNA if the need be. If there's anyone in the community that you would know that would like to come participate in our program, we would sure be glad to have them. We offer the classes every month. They're a 2-week course starting from 7 to 3:30, an 8-hour day. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to call here. We can answer any or all that you may have. We also offer the CPR and the first aid. I am certified to do both of those.
Hi, my name is Donna Suki. I'm the Director of Therapy at Jag Healthcare Burbank. I'm here to tell you a little bit about the therapy department. In our therapy department, we offer physical, occupational, and speech therapies. For the residents that come here for short-term rehab, our goal is to always get them back to their prior level of function so they are successful when they return to their residence. For the patients that live here, our goal is to always maintain their level of function and support independence as long as we can. If there is a decline in any area with any patient here, anybody in the building can make a referral to us. They can either tell a nurse, one of my employees, or me, or write a referral. And then our goal is to pick them up so we can get them back to that level of function and maintain it as long as we can.
Hi, I'm Brian Houghton, Director of Rehab for Jag Healthcare Galleon in Shelby. Here at Shelby, we specialize a lot in some of our cognitive assessments for therapy. We have a lot of the ACL battery of assessments that we do for cognition. We have speech-language pathology that works with our cognition as well. We have physical therapy and occupational therapy. For the most part, a lot of our clients are more active, up social, so we like to utilize that a lot and work with them in their community, work with them in their rooms, in the common areas, and really just try to improve their functionality, improve the way they can interact with their environment. We focus a lot on our clients' ADLs, what they can do for themselves. We try to help them to improve their abilities to take care of themselves, take care of their rooms, their environments. For homegoing people, we help with their ability to utilize things in our kitchen area. We utilize the grounds for walking in and outside. We work a lot on the physical aspect of therapy as far as building strength. We work on the cognitive aspect as far as building understanding, sequencing, use of the environment to improve the way you behave and interact. We utilize a lot of different things for speech. We utilize different utensils and silverwares to help our residents to improve their ability to feed themselves, to work with others. If anyone sees a change in functioning or condition of any of our residents, let us know in therapy right away.
I'm Lori Crabtree. I'm the Social Service and Activities Coordinator at Jag Healthcare Worcester. As the coordinator, I am responsible for assessing each resident upon their admission to develop a plan that coordinates their life in the community to their life in the facility. Our residents are ensured to maintain the highest quality of life due to the Nursing Home Residents' Bill of Rights. Most important in the Bill of Rights is the residents' right to be treated with courtesy and respect. Open communication between all departments is especially important. As our residents' physical needs change, so do their emotional needs. Our residents reap the benefits of each department working together.
My name is Barb Bull. I'm the Director of Nursing here at Jag Worcester, and I've been with the company for 9 years. We welcome you to Jag Worcester. We do a little bit different kind of work here in this facility than perhaps some of our other ones. Our owner, Mr. Jim Griffiths, has a very soft spot in his heart for people with both chronic mental illness and chronic medical conditions. And there's not a lot of places that know how to appropriately manage them well. Several of our JAG homes do a fantastic job of taking that population and providing them with a fantastic opportunity that they might not otherwise have had. One of the first buildings that he ever purchased was a behavioral health facility, and it continues to be a very solid performer for the company in Marion, Ohio, and that's Jag Harding. Here at Jag Worcester, we are 100% cognitive deficit and behavior disorders. Our population here is a little bit younger than what you might find in some of the other facilities, and this is all we do. We don't mix populations here, and I think that's part of our success. The average age in our building here is about 50. Our sweet spot for what we do is that middle-aged, aggressive male resident that's failed in every other level of care. Not sure what that says about my team, but that is really where we do some of our best work. Our building has been full for 2 years. We rarely have an open bed, and our people have done better in our facility according to their guardians and their families than they've done anywhere else. A couple of things that I think are key to our success is our consistency in how we approach the residents. I think it's in our continuity of staffing and leadership, and I think that it is genuinely that we love these residents and we want this to be their forever home. One of the things that we find with our residents here is that when they're bounced around from facility to facility to facility, they don't ever learn to trust anybody. And they get new doctors, they get new care teams, they get new psychiatrists, and they get new medicines, and that's bad for them. Some of our people here have been with us since we opened the doors to behavioral health about 5 years ago, and they are as much a part of our family as those people that I go to home at night. So we have, I think, established a level of relationship and trust with our residents that provide for them a better opportunity than they've had in other places. I will tell you that I was very proud of my team in a recent survey. The surveyor actually said that they had surveyed several other behavioral health facilities within the last month, and their assessment was that they house people with behavioral issues, and we genuinely care about them. So what we do shines through in all of the work that we do here, and we're very, very proud of that. Dealing with this population doesn't come without its hurdles, and we've learned through trial and error, I think, what works really well for the residents in the facility and what doesn't. Structure is important. They will tell you that they don't like structure, but they're much like children in that they need to know what's coming at what specific time, and that helps them to be able to keep their anxiety in check, knowing that, you know, when it's 12 noon we're going to have lunch, when it's 1:30 we're going to go out and have a smoke break. So structure is very important to them. The other thing is that we're very realistic about our expectations here. The building here doesn't have a lot of, it doesn't look like a traditional skilled nursing facility. We use a lot of bright colors. We use lighting and music in a little bit different way to help alter moods. And we don't have, it's not a lot of fluff and fancy on our floor. It's very basic and very simple because the residents don't know how to manage a different type of environment. They're very hard on a physical plant. When their anxiety is out of check, they don't have any other way to manage it sometimes other than perhaps tearing off a piece of baseboard or something like that, because in their mind they don't know how to make this work in another way. And the other thing that we're very careful about doing when those things happen, we expect behaviors in this facility. Any place else these people have been, when they have a behavior, somebody wants to kick them out. We're very clear about saying to them that this is we care about you, you will always have a home here, but it's your behavior that we need to talk about today. So we separate the behavior from who they are as an individual. And for a lot of people that's tough for them to do. People are afraid of what they don't understand, and people with mental illness are very much understood sometimes, or misunderstood. And they've not had a lot of positive adult role models in their life. So when our staff is consistent and everybody does the same thing, then they view everybody here as that role model that they need to be following. And our behaviors are much less than they were when they came here.
Hi there, my name is Amanda McDowell. I'm an administrator with Jag Healthcare, Marion Point, and also Burbank Park. I've been with the company now for 6 years, and I'd like to talk with you today about safety and how we keep our residents safe here and our employees with Jag Healthcare. We believe in doing routine safety drills that are unannounced in the facility, and that allows us to go through the motions and practice what we have in place to keep not only you, but your residents safe. And these drills are specific to whatever facility you're going to be working in. So you will have a safety plan that you'll learn for your facility. From the time that our residents move into the nursing home, it's our job to make sure that their rooms and the common areas within our facility are safe for them. So we like to monitor to make sure that they're using proper electrical safety within their rooms, to make sure that they're not using power strips and other items that are prohibited in the facility too close to their sleeping areas. And that's something that is an ongoing process. As people move in and out of the building, it's our job to continually be monitoring the environment to make sure that it's as safe as it can be. We like to stay current with all of the different alarms that are going on in the building, anything from door alarms, fire alarms, sirens coming and going from the facilities. There are a lot of noises that you'll be hearing within a healthcare facility, and it's our job to stay in tune to what is an emergency sound and what you're going to continually be hearing. For example, the call systems, the call bells in the facilities that the residents push when they need help, that's a continual sound that you'll hear while working in long-term care. Alarms that you should react quickly for example, would be a door alarm that would alert you that a resident has tried to exit the facility who maybe shouldn't be exiting the facility. We have some residents living with us with dementia or cognitive deficits that it's our job to make sure they're safe and that they are within the facility at all times in our care. So when you hear a sound that signifies that the door has been opened, that's something that you have to react very quickly to, regardless of what department you're in. You have to be ready to jump into action and to react to that sound and get there to make sure the resident's safe. So you'll learn that as you are being oriented to the facility. Each building is different, but if you want to work in long-term care, you have to be on your toes. So for our employees, on the back of your employee name tag, you will have a cheat sheet that we believe is very helpful. You can turn it over and it will give you the quick steps you can take in the event of a fire and also a tornado. It will tell you the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning, and also the steps that you should follow should there be a fire. It's good to keep in mind that the first thing you should think in any emergency is how to keep your residents safe. The first thing you will do is remove them from any immediate danger. For tornado purposes, you want to think proactively. You want to take the steps before you need to. We like to be forward thinking when it comes to tornadoes, move them to a safe location as quick as possible, And any resident who cannot move themselves, that is where we come in. We are there to help them get to a safe location, and that is all departments. Regardless of what department you're in, the residents here are your first priority. And when the time comes, during a drill or during the real thing, you are going to jump into action and become a safe place for the residents and help them to be as safe as possible in any kind of emergency.
Thank you all for your attention today, and we will hand it back to Greg Bratton, where he will share more about tornado safety.
Hi, I'm Greg Bratton, and I work here at Jag Healthcare, and I'd like to share a little information on tornado safety with you all. Does anyone know the difference between a tornado watch and a tornado warning? Maybe you're nodding your head yes or shaking your head no. The difference is a tornado watch is the first kind of warning. It's not a warning, but the watch is the first thing you're going to hear on your weather alert station, which should be located in your nurse's station, or all of our residents with televisions, or the televisions in the building generally, when we have some sort of an alarm or warning, it's going to come across the TV. So the watch means that the conditions are favorable. It means that maybe the winds are blowing in the right direction, there's certain weather things are going on, warm, cold, whatever, and the conditions are just better for a tornado. Or actually out here it's looking a little like we might have a little thunder in the air. But so first thing we do is what's a watch? A watch says let's prepare in case there's a warning. That's when we go to our resident rooms. We go ahead and we start taking things off of the shelves and the windows. We want to pull the blinds. We want to let the residents know. We don't want to alarm them, but we want to say, hey, you know, we do have a tornado watch going on right now. Just want to let you know we may have to, you know, move you to our designated areas. If you don't know where your designated areas are in your building, go ahead and get with your maintenance director or your administrator, your director of nursing. They'll be able to let you know where that is. So the watch, what do we do? Like I said, we get the windowsills cleared off, get the blinds pulled. We want to let the residents know what's going on. We also want to kind of just start getting things ready. Make sure that space where you're going to evacuate to, make sure that's clear. Now, if it goes from a watch to a warning, what does that mean? A warning is when we actually have a cycle in the air where it's actually, you know, there's not a tornado, but a wind change where it actually could turn into a tornado. What happens when we have a warning? Well, that means that in our local area, depending on where you're at and where your alert station, what that's notifying you as, it could be county, it could be several counties, it could be the entire state. Once you get that, that means, hey, it's time to get our residents to a safe place in the facility. So immediately, you're going to want to, and when I say immediately, I mean slowly. We want to go ahead. We want to do it quickly, but we don't want to alarm anybody. We don't want everybody to start. We don't want chaos or pandemonium.
What part of the building should they move to, if in the event if it's a warning, and we want to get people to a safe part of the building? What is the area? What direction should they move them to?
That's a great question, and if you're unsure too, this is a good thing to do. You never want to put anybody in an area with lots of windows, okay? Windows equal flying debris going through. Obviously that could cause a lot of harm. Tornadoes can project objects very quickly, and you want to be somewhere in a hallway between doors with doors closed, isolated. Generally tornadoes come out of the west, so if you know your directions in your building, you want to kind of get to an easterly position in the building, somewhere central if you can. The more walls that are between you and the outside, the better. You know, again, but just dining rooms aren't good places normally because there's generally a lot of windows there. Nurses' stations, potentially if they're at the core of the building, you want to stay away from the front doors. Any kind of large areas, day rooms with lots of windows, therapy rooms, you want to stay away from those areas. You want to go somewhere, like I said, internally, and if you're not sure where that is, every building's a little different. Get with your maintenance director, get with your administrator, and they will be able to let you know. And that will be provided per your specific location. Once you get the residents there, I mean, it's kind of like you play the waiting game. You know, keep everybody comfortable. You know, if you've got some refreshments, maybe some water, some drinks, keep everybody just keep everybody calm.
How do we keep up with what's going on and the conditions outside, and how do we know when the warning or the watch is over or changed or upgraded or downgraded? How do we know that?
So you want to have if you have a weather alert station, say it's at the nurse's station, that's generally where it's at, because that's an area that's generally has someone there to be able to get that information, and once it goes off. All right, so once you have everybody in the designated location and everybody's safe, everybody's calm, you're going to want to stay up to date on those weather alerts. You can do that by simply grabbing the weather alert radio from your nurse's station or wherever it's at, go ahead and grab that, bring it to your designated area, plug it into the wall, and just keep up to date. That's going to let you know if anything changes. Generally, the warnings are, they're based on a time, you know, an estimated time, but they can change. So they might say, hey, there's a tornado warning until 5 p.m. for Crawford County. Okay, well, sometimes, you know, the storm may pass over and they'll lower that rating down from a warning to a watch, or just from a warning to nothing, or they can upgrade it too. So, you know, kind of when you hear that time, just because it says, hey, there's a tornado watch or tornado warning in effect until a certain time, that can change. So don't just don't turn your radio off and just say, well, it's 5 p.m. so we're good. Well, what if things changed? What if things got worse and maybe that was extended until 8 p.m. and all of a sudden you're putting the residents back in their rooms and things are worse. So make sure you stay up to date on that. If it goes from a watch or warning to a watch, you can let the residents go back to their rooms. But you know, you may want to keep, sometimes it's tough too with your residents that aren't ambulatory. You know, if you have some residents that are bed bound, and that's another thing there too that we should probably touch base on, because not every resident's going to be able to walk to the designated area, and sometimes things happen so quickly that you don't have time. So if it's something where it literally is just all of a sudden the storm is upon you, kind of like it is out here now, you know, once that hits and it's like a warning, you're trying to get as many people to that designated area as possible. If you see the tornado coming or whatever, it's a resident that's bed bound, get that bed as far away from the windows as possible, as close to the door as possible. Any kind of soft blankets, pillows, any materials that you can put on top of the resident, let them know, hey, this is why we're doing this. Try to protect them in case there was anything, a projectile, anything came across the room. They've got a soft, you know, a thick layer of blankets on top of them to protect them. So if you can't move the residents and the storm is already close by, then that's what you need to do. But let's try to get as many residents to the designated area as possible. Try to keep everybody calm, and then stay updated with your local weather to make sure that you are following the protocol. So that's pretty much it for tornadoes. And any other questions? I'm not a meteorologist, but you know, I'll do what I can. Have a great day.
In the event that you were injured at work, each building has its own specific incident packet. Anytime that an incident takes place, you're going to immediately report to your supervisor. Non-emergent injuries can be triaged in the building, and there is a complete set of forms and information that you would fill out anytime that a workplace injury took place. Please refer to the employee handbook for specific instruction on how to manage work-related injuries. It's important that we get timely information and that a first report of injury is always completed, regardless of whether or not you're seeking treatment. Workplace violence. The company makes every attempt to provide a safe workplace, and it is the responsibility of each associate to take part in ensuring that is maintained. Associates are to maintain control of their anger and seek assistance immediately if you are unable to handle a potentially harmful situation. Remember that JAG Healthcare has a formal dispute resolution policy. We talked about professional responsibility and reporting. This goes hand in hand with our safe workplace, prohibited conduct, and the policies and procedures that ensure the safety of all in our employ. JAG Healthcare also has a no weapons policy. Associates are not permitted to carry a weapon on the premises, nor are any of our visitors. Each individual building has its own emergency preparedness manual specific to the building and the layout. John Hayes will talk to us about fire safety related to pass, race, and the use of fire extinguishers.
My name is John Hayes, Director of Environmental Services at Jag Orville. Been with the company for 8 years, and we're going to talk about RACE, life safety. RACE, R-A-C-E. R is for rescue, A is for alarm, C is for contain, and E is for extinguish. The most important thing out of that is you want to rescue the resident. The next thing that you want to do is you want to alarm the system so everyone else in the building knows that there is a problem by pulling the pull station. Pull stations are located at every exit on the floor of the building. Contain, you want to contain by closing the doors, residence rooms doors. Extinguish if you can by using a fire extinguisher in the residence rooms. Now we're going to talk about how to use a fire extinguisher. The thing you need to know is pass, P-A-S-S. First, you pull pin. Then you want to aim the fire extinguisher at the base of the fire. Then you squeeze the handle, and then you sweep from left to right. That's how you use a fire extinguisher. Just aim at the base, just squeeze, and then just sweep.
And thankfully, John was not harmed during the demonstration with the fire extinguisher. Just a reminder that each building is going to have its own emergency preparedness manual with policies and procedures specific to that building. The last section in employee safety is related to substance abuse. JAG Healthcare is a drug-free workplace. We partake in 4 types of drug screening. Those are pre-employment, post-accident incident, random, and reasonable suspicion. All the drug screening test guidelines and procedures can be found in your employee handbook, and they're detailed given the individual circumstances in which that may or may not take place. Specific to post-accident incident screening, a drug and alcohol test will be required at that time. Note that JAG Healthcare is a second chance or last chance employer, which means that we offer an employee assistance program to all of our associates. Specific information for that can be found in the employee handbook and should also be posted by your time clock and or in the employee break room.
Thank you, Lauren. My name is Michelle Comiskey, and I'm the Corporate HR Director. I've been with JAG Healthcare for 10 years. Today I want to talk to you about the Associate Benefits section of the Employee Manual. And the first benefit I want to talk about is Earned Time Off. Earned Time Off is a benefit that combines traditional vacation, personal, and sick time into a single time off plan. Only regular full-time associates are eligible for ETO. The intent of ETO is to provide a means of compensation to full-time associates for excused elective absences on a more flexible basis than traditional time-off plans. ETO is paid out at your hourly rate, and you can start using it after 6 months of employment. You can carry over a maximum of 40 hours into the next year, so it's a use it or lose it policy. Associates will not receive payment for accrued unused ETO upon termination or resignation, and any change of status from full-time down to part-time or PRN will eliminate any unused balance of ETO. Next, we're going to talk about our holidays. I know everybody loves to celebrate the various holidays throughout the year, and the company recognizes the following holidays: New Year's Day, Memorial Day, Independence Day, Labor Day, Thanksgiving, and Christmas Day. Associates may be required to work on holidays in order to provide adequate care for our residents. If you're scheduled to work on a holiday, you will get paid 2 times your normal rate of pay. And I think we all can say a little extra cash in our pockets is always welcome. During your employment, should there be an unfortunate death in your family, you will be granted time off without pay for an immediate family member. Up to 3 days of unpaid bereavement leave will be provided to regular full-time associates. Associates may request to use ETO during bereavement leave in order to be paid for such leave. Jury duty leave. We all love getting called for jury duty. You are permitted to leave if you are called for jury duty. You are to notify your supervisor as soon as you become aware of the need to appear for jury duty and provide a copy of the court notice or subpoena. Jury duty is unpaid. Witness duty leave. That goes, I think, above and beyond the jury leave. You are permitted to leave if you are required by law to serve as a witness pursuant to a subpoena before a grand jury or in a criminal proceeding. If you are called to serve as a witness for a court proceeding, please notify your supervisor as soon as possible so that you can make arrangements for your time off as unpaid leave. If you are working a shift that falls on an election day, please contact your supervisor to discuss reasonable time off to go and vote should you choose to do so. If you are a volunteer firefighter or a volunteer provider of emergency services and are unable to come to work because of a response, you will be granted that time off as unpaid leave. Female associates working in Ohio are entitled to a reasonable leave of absence for pregnancy, childbirth, and related medical conditions. Pregnancy and maternity leave of absence is unpaid, and they must provide at least 30 days advanced notice before the leave starts. Active military family leave. Under certain circumstances, Ohio associates will be eligible for Ohio military family leave. For additional information on whether you qualify for military family leave, please review the section entitled Military Family Leave in the Employee Handbook.
Thanks, Michelle. Wanted to talk about our non-contributory benefits, which means those are benefits you don't have to pay for. We pay all the cost of them. One of them is a $25,000 life insurance policy, and we make that available to every full-time associate. The other is also for full-time associates. It's a short-term disability leave. What that means is if you get hurt away from work, then or if you have an illness away from work that lasts more than a week, then you would get a payment to help tide you over in that tough time. That's something that we offer, and we just feel strongly that it's a good thing for our employees to have that. The contributory benefits we have are ones where you can elect to be part of our healthcare plan, or our dental, our vision plan, and our 401k. The healthcare plan is with Medical Mutual. It's the broadest coverage in the state, and that's why we chose it. And it gets very good reviews from our employees. So we look at that annually, but we keep coming back to Medical Mutual because they've done a good job with us. We also have a dental plan through Guardian Dental to take care of your teeth, and then Davis Vision for your eye care. And lastly, our 401k plan has a variety of options open to you. It's after 1 year of service. The plan has target maturity funds, and then if you want to go on your own and make your own choices, there's plenty of choices there for you to choose from to construct something that makes sense for you. For the first 3% of your pay that you contribute, we'll contribute half that, so up to 1.5% of your pay in addition to your 3%. That's available after 1 year. All of these benefits are available to our full-time associates. We think it's a great plan. We think it really supports our staff. We're always anxious to hear feedback. And so if you have any questions about those or any concerns about the construct of the plans or the providers we've chosen, we'd love to hear it. So we're going to send it back now to Michelle Comiskey. She's going to talk to you about the Family Medical Leave Act, which is another important benefit available for our associates. Thank you.
Another form of leave available to our associates is the Family and Medical Leave Act, also known as FMLA. This was an act that was enacted in 1993, which allows eligible associates to take up to 12 weeks of protected job leave in a 12-month period. To be eligible for FMLA, an associate must have worked for the company for 12 months and completed 1,250 hours of service. You can take FMLA leave for the birth or adoption of a child, to care for your own serious health condition, or to care for a sick family member. Leave taken to care for your own serious health condition or that of a family member must be certified by an attending physician in order for it to qualify as FMLA leave. You don't have to use all 12 weeks of your FMLA in one leave period. You could take intermittent leave. You could take 6 weeks off to care for your newborn. No matter the length of your leave, it cannot exceed 12 weeks in a 12-month period. For more detailed information on the Family and Medical Leave Act, please refer to the employee manual or to the posters that are hung throughout the facility. Workers' compensation benefits. While Jag Healthcare strives to provide a safe work environment, accidents do happen. All company associates are eligible for workers' compensation benefits should an injury occur while working. Any associate who sustains an on-the-job injury must immediately report said injury to their supervisor and will be required to submit a post-accident drug test and complete an associate injury report.
Thank you, Michelle. So, that is a lot of information all at once. As a new associate of Jag Healthcare, I think that you will find this work environment to be outstanding. And frankly, it's going to be what you make of it. So you do the best you can every day. You show up and you try hard and you smile. Those are our values.
So you've made a really good choice. The fact that you're watching this video means that you've joined on with a company who is going to value you as an individual. I can speak for myself. I'm a mom. My company understands that my kids come first sometimes, and that's okay. And you are more than just an employee when you're working with Jag Healthcare. We look at you as a person. So know that you are in good hands, and we look forward to having you with us. So thank you for being here.
So like I said, remember, to ask questions, and also remember to orient yourself to each facility. Each of our facilities are different. Ask questions, make sure you're aware of the building and where things are in the building, and you'll be just fine.
I want to thank you for listening in, for what we had to share with you for your orientation today. I know you've taken in a lot of material. Hopefully you gathered in a lot of that and understand it. But if you don't understand it, it's okay. We're here to help you answer your questions. We're also, we have written materials that you can go to for guidance, and just give us a call if there's anything we can do to help.
I hope you enjoyed our orientation video. I just want to remind you of some of the things that we covered in the video so that going forward, we're all on the same page. I'm not your boss. I'm in service to you, and you all are in service to each other. And ultimately, I guess if we had a boss, it's our resident. I'm glad that you've chosen Jag Healthcare, and I think you may see now why we feel we have an elite organization and a fine group of healthcare professionals that work with us, many of them for decades. I hope you will too. And always remember, show up, try hard, and smile. Have a great day.
We look forward to working with you here at Jag Healthcare. Welcome.
And welcome. A big welcome to each and every one of you.
And welcome aboard.
Welcome. Welcome to Jag Healthcare.
Jag Healthcare is committed to keeping our residents, staff, and healthcare partners safe at all times in the environment of care. We strictly adhere to the guidelines set forth by the CDC, CMS, and the Ohio Department of Health. Please pay particular attention to these very important infection control techniques. At Jag Healthcare, the safety of everyone involved in our facilities is of utmost importance.
Hi, my name is Kara Jacobs-Slifka. I'm a medical officer and part of the CDC COVID-19 response in long-term care facilities. Today we're going to talk about how to keep COVID-19 out and the importance of not working when you are sick. This is part of the key COVID-19 prevention messages for frontline long-term care staff. The number one thing that you can do to keep COVID-19 out of your building and keep your residents safe: do not work when you are sick. The virus causing COVID-19 spreads mainly from person to person when they cough, talk, or sneeze. But some people can spread the virus even without having symptoms. So you should wear a face mask while you are at work all of the time. This is called source control because the face mask prevents germs from your mouth and nose from spreading to other people when you talk, cough, or sneeze, which protects residents and staff. CDC recommends the use of cloth face coverings for everyone who goes to public places for source control. These may be able to be used by some nursing home staff who are not interacting with residents. However, cloth face coverings are not considered personal protective equipment and should not be worn instead of a respirator or face mask if more than source control is required, like when you're caring for a resident. What we have seen so far during the outbreak is that COVID-19 enters into long-term care facilities through the people who work there. You could spread germs to residents and patients without even knowing it. And the added benefit of face masks is that they also protect you from germs by keeping germs from touching your mouth and your nose. In order for your face mask to work, you have to wear your face mask the correct way. Do clean your hands before you put on and take off your face mask. Wear your face mask so that it completely covers your mouth and your nose. Remove the face mask, touching only the straps. And if reusing the face mask, fold it in half with the outer part of the mask folded in and store it in a paper bag or breathable container. Don't touch your face mask or your face, and make sure that you don't pull your mask down under your nose. Your nose must be covered by the face mask. Don't wear the mask on top of your head, around your neck, or hanging off of your ear. And don't store the mask on your arm or in your pocket. You will need to take your temperature and report any symptoms each day when you start your shift. If you have a new or different cough, sore throat, shortness of breath, muscle aches, or otherwise feel sick, you should not work. Some people have even reported symptoms such as a headache, losing their sense of smell or taste, or chills. These could also indicate that you may be sick. If you feel okay to start your shift, but develop a temperature of more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit or start to feel sick while you're at work, you should immediately notify your supervisor and go home. Many nursing home residents have become very sick, and some have died after staff in their building worked while they were sick. You play a very important role in keeping residents and staff healthy. Anyone who enters a long-term care facility must first check their temperature and report symptoms. They should also wear a mask the whole time that they're in the facility. This includes you and all healthcare personnel, support staff, housekeeping, dietary, maintenance, construction, administrators, consultants, vendors, visitors, everyone who enters the building. No one should enter a long-term care facility when they are sick. Many people work at more than one building or have more than one job. If you become sick, you should alert your supervisors at all of your work locations right away so that they can check for other sick staff or residents who may be sick. COVID-19 can spread very quickly in nursing homes and in other long-term care facilities. There is no time to waste. You can be a voice for your residents. Help make sure that no visitors are allowed on site unless they are visiting during end-of-life situations. It is more important than ever that you help your residents stay connected by finding ways for them to communicate with their loved ones, such as over the telephone or using a video call like FaceTime. Keep your residents safe by encouraging other staff and anyone else who comes into the building to stay home when they are sick, clean their hands frequently, and wear a face mask. Encourage residents not to give hugs or shake hands. They should practice social distancing by staying at least 6 feet apart. And social distancing is for you too. Anyone working or providing services in the building should try to stay 6 feet apart from one another, including in the break room and in any common areas.
If you are an essential critical worker who has tested positive for COVID-19, you may be asked to continue to work in the COVID section since you are asymptomatic with no symptoms. If you have any questions, please check with your supervisor. Jag Healthcare is offering this video as an educational tool to assist in a better understanding of COVID-19. Please refer to the CDC guidelines.
Hi, my name is Kara Jacob-Slifka. I'm a medical officer and part of the CDC COVID-19 response in long-term care facilities. Today we are going to talk about using personal protective equipment, or PPE, correctly for COVID-19. This is a part of the key COVID-19 prevention messages for frontline long-term care staff. Your health is important, and your residents need you to stay healthy. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, which includes items like gloves, gown, face mask, respirators, and eye protection like face shields and goggles, can help keep you safe from germs. But PPE must be used correctly, or it will not work to keep you safe. As soon as you become worried that a resident may have COVID-19, or if you find out that a resident has tested positive for COVID-19, you should be using PPE. A positive test result means that a resident has confirmed COVID-19, but that resident may or may not have symptoms. If you are taking care of a resident with a temperature of more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or multiple temperatures of 99 degrees Fahrenheit, or has symptoms such as shortness of breath, a new or different cough, sore throat, or muscle aches, you should be using PPE because this resident might have COVID-19, or they are suspected to have COVID-19. Older adults may not show typical symptoms, so be on the lookout for symptoms such as new or worsening discomfort or tiredness, new dizziness, or diarrhea, and make sure that you are using PPE. During an outbreak, when multiple individuals in a building are sick or test positive, PPE may be required to care for all residents on a wing, in an area of the building, or even throughout the entire facility. Residents with suspected or confirmed COVID should also be restricted to their room. PPE for suspected or confirmed COVID-19, which as a reminder means that the resident either has a positive test for COVID-19 or has an elevated temperature or symptoms concerning for infection, or maybe in an area of the building where PPE is being used for all residents, includes face shield or goggles. Personal eyeglasses and contacts are not considered adequate eye protection. Goggles or a face shield that covers the front and the sides of the face should be used. An N95 or higher level respirator, if your facility has a respiratory protection program, fit-tested staff, and respirators, or a face mask, which is an acceptable alternative to N95 if N95 respirators are not available, a pair of gloves, and a gown. It's important to recognize the difference between a face mask and an N95. The face mask fits loosely over the face. An N95 respirator filters the air and provides a seal around the face, but must be fit tested prior to use. PPE is currently in short supply, so implementing ways to conserve PPE right now is important to help prevent running out. Gloves should generally be worn for any contact with the resident or their environment. They should be changed, and hand hygiene should be performed before moving on to work with the next resident. Gowns are recommended for use with each resident, but can be prioritized for activities that might involve splashes or sprays, and for high contact care activities. And these high contact care activities are the same activities that have been discussed before with enhanced barrier precautions and include dressing, bathing or showering, transferring, providing hygiene, changing linens, assisting with toileting, device care or use of a device, and wound care. Extended use of eye protection and N95s or face masks, if N95s are not available, can be considered during shortages. During extended use, eye protection and an N95 respirator or face mask are worn for the care of multiple patients without removing them. Glove and gowns, if they are used, should be changed between residents. Personnel who don't come within 6 feet of residents might not need all PPE, but should still wear a face mask for source control to keep them from spreading germs to others. And as a reminder, universal face mask use means that you are wearing your face mask at all times in order to prevent sharing germs. The way that PPE is donned or put on is important. But first, before donning PPE, you should clean your hands. You then put on a gown, and this should be wrapped around the back of you and fastened at the neck and at the waist. Next, you put on an N95 respirator or face mask if respirator is not available, covering your nose and mouth. You may already have this on from the universal face mask use throughout the day whenever you're in the facility. And even more specific details on this are covered in videos that can be found at the resource section at the end of the presentation. Goggles or face shield is put on next and should be adjusted to fit. And then last, you should place on your gloves and extend them to cover the wrist of the isolation gown. The skin of your wrist between your gloves and gown should not be showing. It's also important to note that if you are reusing or extending the use of any PPE, you will still need to adjust your donning. You may need to adjust your donning and doffing procedures. In addition, if you're reusing eye protection, it will need to be cleaned and disinfected. And at a minimum, you should use gloves while cleaning and disinfecting these items. For doffing or taking off PPE, first remove your gloves, using caution as the outside of the gloves is considered to be contaminated or have germs on it. One way to do this, as shown in the picture, is to use one of your gloved hands to grasp the palm area of the other gloved hand and peel off that first glove. Then, while you're holding the glove in your other gloved hand, slide the fingers of your hand that no longer has a glove on it under your remaining glove at the wrist and peel the second glove over the first glove. This may take practice, and videos in the resource section at the end of the presentation can help further demonstrate this. You next remove your gown, rolling the gown down, and dispose of it. At this point, you may be able to exit that area and perform hand hygiene. Then carefully remove your face shield or goggles, avoiding touching the front of the face shield or the goggles. These should then be reprocessed before reuse. Next, remove the respirator or face mask unless you are practicing extended use, in which case you can continue to wear unless dampened or soiled. You would remove that respirator or face mask by grasping the straps behind your head and carefully pulling them over your head or over your ears, and avoid touching your face or the front of the respirator or mask, which is considered to have germs on it, and perform hand hygiene again.
We all know about the growing threat of antimicrobial resistance and have seen the headlines about superbugs and nightmare bacteria. Unfortunately, this threat is very real. Now more than ever, it's critical that we work together to contain these drug-resistant pathogens and the infections they cause. Keeping our hands clean is one of the most important ways to prevent the spread of infections. Every time we enter the patient zone, we can get dangerous germs on our hands and spread them to ourselves or to other patients. Sometimes we don't clean our hands as often as we should, not because we mean to do harm, but because it's a daunting task. Some of us might have to do it 100 times a day. It takes dedication, mindfulness, and time. Our patients' lives depend on it. Let's applaud the efforts and improvements we've already made. Increases in hand hygiene adherence have led to decreases in healthcare-associated infections. At the same time, we know there is still room for improvement. We can all do better. Our clean hands count. Now, more than ever.
Hi, my name is Kara Jacob-Slivka. I'm a medical officer and part of the CDC COVID-19 response in long-term care facilities. Today we're going to talk about closely monitoring residents for COVID-19 and the importance of recognizing new or worsening infections quickly and taking action. This is part of the key COVID-19 prevention messages for frontline long-term care staff. You know your residents best. Noticing even small changes in their appearance or their behavior that may indicate a new COVID-19 infection or an infection that is quickly getting worse, alerting your charge nurse, medical director, or supervisor could prevent many people from getting sick or a resident from dying. The main way that the virus causing COVID-19 spreads is person to person. What this means is that the virus can spread between people who are in close contact with one another. Usually that means less than about 6 feet apart, through respiratory droplets when a person infected with the virus coughs, sneezes, or talks. These droplets can land in the mouth or nose of people who are nearby, or may be inhaled into their lungs. An infected person may be able to spread the virus even if they don't have symptoms. It may be possible to get COVID by touching surfaces or objects that the virus is on, such as a resident's bed or bedside table, or things like doorknobs and blood pressure machines, and then touching your mouth, nose, or eyes. Make sure that you clean your hands frequently and clean and disinfect the environment. COVID-19 can be spread easily in long-term care facilities, including nursing homes, assisted living, and other residential care settings, and can spread between residents, healthcare personnel, and others working in the building. The earlier you can identify sick residents, the faster you can prevent COVID-19 from spreading throughout the building. This can keep both you and your residents healthy. As an important reminder, sick healthcare personnel and other staff, some who may not have symptoms, are the most likely way that COVID-19 has made its way into buildings. It is for this reason that wearing your surgical mask at all times and not working when sick is so important. If COVID-19 is not recognized early, and even one person in a long-term care facility, they can easily spread the virus to other residents or staff in the building. Residents live in a close environment, are older, and may have chronic medical conditions, putting them at high risk of getting COVID-19. If not recognized early, healthcare personnel and other staff or visitors in the building could get sick. Each person with COVID-19 can go on to spread the virus to more people within the building, who can then go on to spread the virus to others, both within the building or even in other buildings where they work. But when COVID-19 is recognized early through monitoring residents each day for fever and changes that may indicate a new infection, and immediately putting infection prevention practices into place, such as having the residents stay in their room, and healthcare personnel using personal protective equipment, or PPE, you can help keep COVID-19 from spreading throughout the building and making many people sick. In this picture, you can see that when COVID-19 was found early, only a few people in orange got sick, while most other people in gray were able to stay healthy. Social distancing and wearing cloth face coverings by residents may help prevent spread as well. This is why you should be monitoring your residents every day for signs, symptoms, and changes in their appearance or behavior that may indicate COVID-19. You should take your residents' temperature every day, and even more often if you are concerned. A temperature of equal to or more than 100 degrees Fahrenheit, or multiple temperatures of 99 degrees Fahrenheit, should trigger a warning that this resident may have COVID-19. Ask residents to tell you if they aren't feeling well. And monitor them every day and throughout the day for symptoms such as new or different cough, sore throat, shortness of breath, or muscle aches. Older adults may not show typical symptoms, so be on the lookout for symptoms such as new or worsening discomfort or tiredness, new dizziness, chills, headache, or diarrhea. You know your residents the best, so any change from their usual baseline should be a warning that they might have COVID-19, and you should immediately notify your charge nurse or supervisor. Send the resident to their room and use PPE when you are caring for the resident. A separate presentation on PPE is available and has more details on which PPE to use and how to use it to keep yourself safe. You have an important role to identify sick residents early by monitoring them closely in order to help keep residents and staff healthy. Unfortunately, we have seen sick residents during the COVID-19 outbreak develop severe illness very quickly. Sick residents must be monitored very closely in order to make sure they have the support that they need, or identify when a higher level of care is needed. You should monitor sick residents at least 3 times daily by checking their vitals, including oxygen saturation with a pulse ox machine, at each shift. Again, you know your residents the best, so if they look different or worse to you in some way, please report these findings immediately to your charge nurse, a clinician, or supervisor so that the resident can be evaluated.
Today, we are going to talk about how sparkling surfaces stop the spread of COVID-19 and share some pointers for improving the cleaning and disinfection of environmental and equipment surfaces. This is a part of the key COVID-19 prevention messages for frontline long-term care staff. As you have heard, the residents you care for in nursing homes and assisted living facilities are among the most vulnerable to COVID-19 infections. Because of their age, frailty, and chronic medical needs, nursing home residents are more likely to have severe illness leading to hospitalization and death. 8 out of every 10 deaths from COVID-19 have occurred in adults over 65 years of age. We all must take action now to protect them. The coronavirus causing COVID-19 is mostly spread from person to person through respiratory droplets when someone coughs or sneezes, but it may also be possible for the virus to spread from contaminated surfaces or objects like the bed rails, walkers, and tabletops you see in this picture. Viruses and other germs can spread onto surfaces when someone coughs or sneezes on them, or when someone with infection touches a surface with contaminated hands. Surfaces that are touched frequently increase the chance that germs could be spread to other residents or staff. While these surfaces may look clean, pathogens could be lurking. We also want to protect residents from infection from some of the common pathogens found in or on surfaces of long-term care facilities, which are shown in this figure. Germs such as C. diff, MRSA, HIV, and norovirus. But how long can they really survive on exposed surfaces? The short answer is a pretty long time, depending on the microbe. For example, C. diff can form a spore, which is basically a way the bacteria hibernates and allows it to last for months and sometimes over a year on many surfaces. Most bacteria survive anywhere from a couple of days to several months, and viruses can also last on surfaces for several days. Proper cleaning and disinfecting are important ways to keep surface pathogen levels low and prevent infection from spreading to other residents. They are all examples of high-touch surfaces: door handles, light switches, bedpan cleaners, toilet handles. But there are also high-touch, high-risk surfaces that are part of shared equipment that is used with multiple different residents throughout the day. Stethoscopes, blood pressure cuffs, and walkers are just a few. So to start with, we need to know how and when to clean surfaces. The first place to start is with creating a process for cleaning equipment and room surfaces. Following the same pattern every day makes it easier to ensure consistent cleaning. Always go from dirty areas to clean from top to bottom in order to prevent recontaminating surfaces that have already been touched. Right now, you should think about increasing the frequency of cleaning those high-touch, high-risk surfaces to keep residents and staff even safer. That might mean cleaning these surfaces at least once a shift instead of daily, or trying to wipe down high-touch surfaces every time someone enters the room. And remember to build in time to wipe down and clean all the equipment that is being shared between residents so that germs don't get to tag along on the ride. Another part of your process should be determining which staff are responsible for different pieces of equipment. When it is unclear who is responsible for cleaning and disinfecting a particular item, those items can be missed entirely. To prevent that from happening, your teams can work together to note which staff type, whether frontline nursing or housekeeping, would have the responsibility to clean each item and talk through how often they should be cleaned and disinfected. Once everybody knows their responsibility for cleaning and disinfecting surfaces, it is important to be familiar with which types of products your facility uses for each surface being cleaned. And make sure those products are easily available when you need them, and know how to apply these products. Remember, first you must clean the surface, and then you apply the disinfectant. Many products need to remain on surfaces for several minutes to fully kill the germs. This is considered contact time and could vary from one product to the next. In this picture, you can see how one facility labeled their disinfecting wipes with the contact time on each product as a way to remind their staff how long that product should remain on a surface in order to fully disinfect. Practice building surface cleaning into other resident care workflow so you can minimize the number of people that need to enter each room and keep surfaces as clean as possible. Cleaning surfaces keeps COVID-19 from spreading in your facility. Support each other to ensure the environment where you provide care is as safe for you as your residents as possible. Practice good surface cleaning at work and at home. Prevent germs from spreading among your family members. Keep COVID-19 out of your home, your facility, and your community. Here are some links for a variety of resources available on the CDC website that provide more information about COVID-19, additional guidance, and tools. Thank you.